The night it happened, the sky over Aurelia's city looked like a warning. Heavy clouds, a restless wind, and a silence that felt intentional. Mira Dalton never believed in omens, not until the moment she stepped out of the sleek black elevator and saw him, Elias Valerio, the billionaire no one dared to cross, the man whose empire had swallowed entire companies, entire families, a man who could destroy anyone with a single signature. And tonight, he was waiting for her. "Mira," he said, softly, almost too softly, "sit." She didn't, not yet. Her heart was hammering, her palms damp. Something inside her whispered, "Run," but curiosity could be a dangerous leash. Elias watched her carefully, like a man evaluating a priceless artifact that might break at the slightest touch. "I won't waste your time," he said. "What I'm about to offer you is dangerous, but it will save your life." That's when Mira finally spoke. "Save me from what?" Elias looked at her the way you look at someone who has no idea their life is about to collapse. "From losing everything." The room went quiet, too quiet. A pause stretched between them, heavy, cold, and filled with something Mira couldn't name. Elias walked to the window, hands in his pockets. Below them the city lights glittered like diamonds, the kind he could buy, sell, or crush. "Your father," Elias said quietly, "was not the man you believed he was." "My father is dead," she whispered. "Yes, but the debt he owed me is not." Her stomach dropped. He turned back to her, sharp, unreadable. "Your father stole from me millions, and the people coming after you don't care that you weren't involved." Mira felt her breath catch. "People coming after me? What are you talking?" A sudden knock on the penthouse door made her jump. Elias didn't blink. Right on time. He moved with a calmness that made her more afraid. "Mira," he said. His voice was low, controlled, deadly clear. "You have one chance, one choice." He stepped closer, close enough that she could feel the gravity around him shift. "Say yes," Elias whispered, "or lose everything." She swallowed hard. "Say yes to what?" He stared into her eyes. "Marry me." The world fell silent. For 5 long seconds she couldn't even breathe. "This isn't a joke," she whispered. "I don't joke, not with lives." Her pulse pounded in her ears. Marry him? A man she barely knew, a man whose name alone could start wars in boardrooms. "No," she said, shaking her head. "No, this is insane." Elias didn't flinch. "Then you should know something." He slid a folder across the table. "Open it." Her fingers trembled as she lifted the cover. Her father's signature, bank transactions, illegal ones, debt trails, threat messages, people watching her apartment for weeks. Her knees nearly buckled, and then she saw it. A photo of her, taken this morning. Her throat closed. "Why didn't you tell me?" she whispered. "I just did." Another emotional silence. Elias's voice softened, but only slightly. I can give you protection, a new identity, access to resources your father died trying to steal. You'll be untouchable." "And the price?" Mira's voice cracked. He held her gaze. "Your hand, your name, and 1 year. That's all." "1 year of what?" she breathed. "Being my wife." Her heart felt like it was collapsing.
This is blackmail. It's survival. This is madness. It's the only way. Elias walked closer again, but this time there was something different in his eyes. Not softness, not cruelty either. Something in between. "Mira," he said quietly, "they will kill you. I am not guessing. I am telling you." She closed her eyes. Her life, her father, her future. Everything felt like a rope slipping through her fingers. "And why," she whispered shakily, "would a billionaire like you need a wife so desperately that you do this?" Elias exhaled slowly. "Because the board wants to remove me as CEO. They think I'm reckless, unstable, a liability." "Are you?" "Sometimes." His honesty startled her. But a married CEO appears stable, responsible, settled. 1 year of marriage, 1 year of silence, 1 year of safety. You help me, and I help you stay alive. Mira felt the weight of every word pressing down on her chest. "And if I say no?" she whispered. Elias leaned close, his voice barely a breath. "Then you won't live long enough to regret it." A cold shiver ran through her, a beat of silence, another. Then he stepped back, giving her space, a strange mercy. "I'll give you 1 hour. After that, I can't protect you." Elias walked out of the room, and Mira stood alone, staring at the city that suddenly felt terrifyingly big. Her hands shook, her breath trembled, her mind raced. A man like Elias Valerio proposing marriage like it was a security contract. This was insane. But the folder on the table, the threats, the photo, her father's secrets, her life wasn't safe anymore. Not anywhere. Her phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Another message. "We see you." Her blood ran cold. She looked toward the door Elias had disappeared through, a cliffhanger building inside her chest. And for the first time in her life, Mira Dalton had no idea what her next move should be. Her voice cracked as she whispered to herself, "What do I do?" The timer on the wall began counting down. 60 minutes. 59. Her hour had already begun, and the city felt like it was watching. Mira's legs felt weak as she stared at the ticking timer. 57 minutes left. She didn't even realize she was shaking until she gripped the edge of the table to steady herself. A cold voice echoed in her memory. "Say yes, or lose everything." But marrying Elias Valerio, the man whose eyes held too many shadows, the man the world feared, the man who seemed to already know everything about her, this was insanity. But staying alive, that mattered more than anything. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Another message. "You have 1 hour, then you're ours." Her heart thudded painfully. She backed away from the phone like it was dangerous. A soft click behind her made her whirl around. One of Elias's security guards stepped into the penthouse. Tall, expressionless, built like someone sculpted from stone. "Miss Dalton," he said, voice calm but cold, "we need to move you to a safer room." "I'm not staying. I haven't agreed to anything."
The guard didn't blink. "With respect, ma'am, staying alive doesn't require your agreement." He motioned toward the hallway. Mira wanted to argue. She wanted to scream. She wanted to run. But her legs moved on their own. The guard led her into a different room, a private suite inside the penthouse. Marbled floors, soft lighting, a wall of glass overlooking the stormy city. Her small reflection looked fragile, breakable. The guard remained outside, closing the door. It wasn't locked, but the message was clear. She wasn't going anywhere. Mira paced the room, fighting rising panic. Her father had lied. Her life was in danger, and the only person offering protection was the one man she didn't trust. She sat on the edge of the bed, burying her face in her hands. Minutes crawled by. 39 minutes left. Her mind raced in circles until a soft knock tapped the door. Before she could answer, Elias stepped inside. He looked different now, less CEO, more human. He studied her quietly. "You're afraid." Mira gave a humorless laugh. "No, I'm thrilled. I love it when billionaires blackmail me into marriage." A beat of silence. Then, unexpectedly, he smiled, just barely. A small, dangerous, almost sad smile. "If I wanted to blackmail you, Mira, I wouldn't have given you a choice." Her breath hitched. He wasn't wrong. He walked closer, stopping a careful distance away. He asked, "You think I do this lightly? You think I want a wife, a stranger, someone who doesn't trust me?" His voice softened. "I don't, but I also don't want you dead." She shook her head. "Why me? Out of every woman on the planet, why me?" Elias exhaled slowly, like he'd been expecting that question. "Because your father wasn't the only one keeping secrets." Mira's pulse jumped. "What are you talking about?" Elias looked at her, really looked at her, as if trying to decide how much truth she could survive. "Your father saved my life once, a long time ago, before the money, before the power, before any of this." Mira blinked. "What?" "He protected me," Elias continued, "from someone who wanted me gone, someone who still wants control of my company." Her heart raced. "So this entire thing is some twisted payback?" "No," he said quietly. "It's a promise, one I made to him before he died." Mira felt the air shift. A promise? What promise? Elias held her gaze. "That if anything ever happened to him, I'd protect you, no matter what it cost." Something broke in her chest, a sharp, unexpected ache. "You could have just told me that," she whispered. "I just did." They stared at each other, a moment raw enough to feel dangerous. Then Elias stepped back, his composure sliding back into place. "But now," he continued, "there's more at stake than a promise. The board thinks I'm losing control of my company. They want proof I'm stable, settled, human." "And marriage gives you that?" she asked. "It buys me time," Elias murmured. "Time to root out the traitor in my company, the same one hunting you." Mira felt her skin prickle. Someone inside his empire was after her? After him? "And if you don't find the traitor?" she whispered. He didn't blink. "Then we both die." Her breath caught in her throat. A long silence settled over the room. Finally, Elias said quietly, "You don't have to love me. You don't have to trust me. You just have to stay alive. Let me protect you." Mira looked at down her trembling hands. "Why do you even care?" she asked.
For the first time, Elias's voice cracked. "Because I owe your father more than the world will ever know, and because I refuse to let you pay for his mistakes." Her chest tightened. He wasn't cold. He wasn't cruel. He was something else. Complicated. Wounded. Dangerous. 20 minutes left.
Elias moved toward the door. I'll give you privacy for the rest of your hour. If you want my help, if you choose to live, come find me. He paused, one hand on the doorframe. And if you choose to walk away, he swallowed, jaw tightening. Then may God help you, Mira, because I won't be able to. He left. The door closed, and the room felt bigger, colder, heavier. Mira stood there, heart pounding, thoughts spiraling. Was she really considering this? Marrying a man she barely knew? A man wrapped in secrets and storms? She walked toward the glass wall, staring out at the rain hitting the city in violent sheets. Her reflection looked lost. But then something shifted. She remembered her father's laugh, his warmth, his promise that he'd always keep her safe. He failed, and now the only person offering her safety was a man with the power to destroy everything. 10 minutes left. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't want to look, but she did. A video, sent anonymously. Her. Outside her apartment, from last night. A man following close behind her. Her knees nearly gave out. Her hour wasn't just ticking away, it was ending. 5 minutes left. Her breath turned shallow. 4 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Mira closed her eyes. Her life, every choice, every dream, flashed through her chest like a storm. Then she turned toward the door and whispered, "Elias." She pushed it open. The hallway was empty, quiet, except footsteps, slow, steady, purposeful. Elias appeared from the shadows, his expression unreadable, but something flickered in his eyes when he saw her. "You've made your choice?" he asked quietly. Mira swallowed hard. "Yes." His breath caught just slightly. And she met his gaze, fear and fire tangled in her chest. "I'll marry you." A sharp silence filled the space. Elias didn't smile, didn't react, didn't celebrate. He only said one thing. "Then from this moment on, you're not leaving my side." Before she could respond, a loud crash thundered from the elevator at the far end of the floor. Mira jumped. Elias stepped in front of her instantly. Protective, cold, deadly. The elevator doors had been forced open, and shadows moved inside. Elias whispered, "Stay behind me." Then everything went dark. The hallway lights flickered once, twice. Then everything snapped into darkness, swallowing the entire penthouse floor. Mira couldn't see anything, not Elias, not the walls, not even her own hands. Just black, just fear. Then a sound. Boots scraping against metal inside the forced open elevator. Elias's voice cut through the darkness, low and controlled. "Back, against the wall, now." Mira's breath trembled as she backed up until her shoulders touched cold marble.
She barely had time to steady herself before Elias's hand brushed hers, grabbing her wrist, pulling her close enough that she could feel his heartbeat hammering through his chest. He was calm, but not unafraid. Not tonight. The darkness shifted again. Soft footfalls. 2, 3, maybe more. Mira whispered, "Who are they?" Elias murmured, "People who aren't supposed to be alive. Men your father put away years ago. Someone tipped them off." Her heart nearly stopped. "So they're here for me?" "No, they're here for both of us." A quiet click echoed through the hall. A gun. Mira choked out a tiny breath. Elias's grip tightened on her wrist. "Don't move," he whispered. It was terrifying, but there was something grounding about the way he held her. Like even in the dark, he'd know where she was. A deep, unfamiliar voice called out, "Valerio!" The word bounced off the walls, accusing, cold. Elias didn't answer. The voice continued, "You should have stayed out of this. The girl isn't yours to protect." Mira froze. A slow smile crept into the voice's tone. "But maybe we should thank you. You made this easier than expected." Elias whispered one word under his breath. A curse. Sharp. Deadly. Another click echoed. Not one gun. 2. Mira's pulse thrashed. Then, bang! A gunshot tore through the dark. Loud. Violent. Mira flinched so hard her knees buckled. She would have hit the floor if Elias hadn't caught her waist, pulling her flush against him. Her ears rang. Her heart pounded painfully. Elias didn't let go. "Move," he whispered, guiding her backward. "Slow, stay behind me." Her breathing was uneven, but she followed. She could feel his body shield her completely as he maneuvered her through the dark. Another voice echoed, "Is she with you, Valerio?" Elias responded coldly, "She's under my protection." A low laugh. "Then she dies with you." Mira felt Elias tense. Another gunshot fired, this one closer. Too close. Elias shoved Mira into a small alcove, covering her with his body as sparks flew from the wall, inches from her head.
Her breath hitched. Time froze. Everything blurred into heat and terror. Elias whispered into her ear, "You're safe. I've got you. Don't move." Her chest trembled. Even in the chaos, even in the darkness, Mira believed him. Then the emergency lights flickered back on, dim, red, but enough to see, and enough to terrify her. 3 armed men stood at the end of the hallway. Masks, guns, coldness in their eyes. Elias stepped in front of her fully now, blocking her from view as he raised his hand slightly. "Brave, but foolish," the lead man said. Mira wanted to scream at Elias to stop. "Don't provoke them. Don't fight them. Don't—" But Elias spoke first. "You attack my home. You threaten her. That was your mistake." The lead man smirked. "Funny, we were thinking the same thing about you." Elias moved fast, too fast for Mira's eyes to track. A single motion. He grabbed a vase from the side table, hurled it into the lights above them. Glass shattered. Darkness again. Gunfire exploded. Mira screamed. Elias yanked her through the dark with brutal speed. "Run!" They sprinted, blindly, desperately, heart and throat. The hallway felt endless. A bullet whizzed past. Another embedded itself in the wall beside them. Elias shoved open a door and pulled her inside, slamming it behind him. A panic room. Steel walls. No windows. Dim lighting. Secure. Her chest heaved as she tried to catch her breath. Elias locked the door and turned to her. "You're hurt?" he asked quickly. No, I don't think so." He reached out and touched her cheek, just lightly, testing for blood. She froze at the warmth of his fingers. He froze too. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Elias stepped back, clearing his throat. "You're shaking." "No," Mira whispered, even though she was. He stared at her, a long, unreadable look. Then he sat down on the steel bench, elbows resting on his knees. "They shouldn't have known you were here," he said, quietly. "Someone on the inside is feeding them information." Mira sank onto the opposite bench, her breath still unsteady. "The traitor you mentioned earlier," she whispered. Elias nodded once, grim. "They want control of the company, and they want me out of the picture." "And me?" she asked. He looked up at her, slowly, intensely. "Your leverage, a weakness they think I have." Mira felt heat rise to her cheeks. "I'm not your weakness." "No," Elias said softly. "You're the only reason I'm still alive." Her breath hitched. A long silence stretched between them. Then Mira whispered, "Why didn't you leave me? In the hallway. You could have escaped." Elias looked at her like the question offended him. "I don't abandon people," he said quietly. "Especially not you." Her chest tightened painfully. A beat passed. Then another. She finally asked the question that had been burning in her mind from the start. "Elias, are you doing this because of my father or because of something else?" He didn't answer immediately. His jaw tightened, his eyes darkened, and when he did speak, his voice was low. "I don't know." Her breath caught. He continued softer now. "But I know this. When I saw those men step out of the elevator, my first instinct wasn't to fight them. It was to get you behind me." Mira swallowed. "Why?" Elias lifted his head, his eyes locked onto hers, steady and warm and dangerous all at once. "Because losing you," he said quietly, "feels like something I cannot afford." Mira's pulse fluttered. She didn't know what to say, didn't know how to breathe. The moment held, heavy, unspoken, electric, until suddenly a loud bang hit the steel door. Mira jumped. Elias stood instantly. The banging grew louder, harder. "They're trying to break in," he murmured. Her blood ran cold. "Can they?" "No, not quickly." "How long do we have?" "Minutes." Mira's heart thudded painfully. "What do we do?" Elias turned to her. There was fear in his eyes now. Real fear. "Something I hoped I'd never have to do," he whispered. He walked to a panel on the wall and pressed his hand against it. A hidden compartment slid open. Inside, a small black case. Elias grabbed it and opened it. Mira gasped. Not a weapon, not money, not documents. 2 wedding rings. Simple, matte, black titanium. Elias turned to her, breath uneven. "Mira," he said, firm but trembling underneath, "we're out of time." "What, right now?" she whispered. "Yes. If we die tonight, you die as Mira Dalton, unprotected, unclaimed, vulnerable.
And if we marry, then you die as Mira Valerio, and no one, no board member, no mercenary, no traitor can erase you without raising every alarm in my empire. It binds my entire protection network to you instantly." Her breath went shallow. "You're saying getting married right now saves me?" "Yes," he whispered, "and it saves me too." A fist slammed against the door, metal rung. Mira flinched. Elias stepped closer, holding out the ring. His voice cracked for the first time. "Marry me now, Mira. Not forever, not for love, but because we don't survive without each other." She stared at the ring, her future, her life, everything, balanced on a razor edge. The men outside pounded harder. Time was gone. Mira lifted her trembling hand and whispered, "Elias, yes." A breath left him, relief, something deeper. He slid the ring onto her finger. His hands shook. Then she slid his ring onto his. Their fingers lingered, too long, too intimate. Elias whispered the words that sealed everything. "Mira Dalton, from this moment on, you're mine." And then the steel door began to bend. The steel door groaned under the force of the attackers, bending inward like a slow nightmare. Mira flinched at every slam. Her pulse echoed in her ears. The ring on her finger felt heavy, too real, like her entire life had changed in a single breath. Elias stood between her and the door, chest rising and falling with steady, controlled breaths. He wasn't panicking. He was calculating. "Elias," Mira whispered, "what happens when they get through?" He didn't turn around, but his voice was steady. "They won't. Not before backup arrives." Another violent crash. The door bent deeper. Mira shook her head. "It sounds like they're almost here." "They're not," he replied calmly. "This door can take bullets, explosives, and battering rams. They'll get tired before they get in. But what if— I won't let them touch you." Her breath caught. He said it like a promise carved into stone. She watched him silently, the tension in his jaw, the way his shoulders stayed rigid and ready, the way he stood tall even as the world outside tried to devour him. She whispered, "We can't stay trapped here forever." Elias finally turned, meeting her eyes. His expression softened. "No," he murmured, "we can't." He stepped closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. "And we won't." He reached behind the bench, pulling open another hidden compartment. Mira gasped. Behind the panel, an escape chute, a vertical shaft leading deep into the building's private security tunnel system. Elias offered Mira his hand. "We climb down," he said. 30 floors, straight to my underground transport dock." Mira stared into the dark shaft. "No elevator?" "No noise," Elias explained. "If the traitor hears machinery, they'll send men below." She swallowed. "So we climb?" Elias nodded once. "I go first. You follow. Don't look down." Another slam hit the door, louder this time. A crack finally formed near the hinge. Mira jumped. Elias stepped between her and the door again, voice suddenly sharp. "Now, Mira." Her heart raced. She grabbed his hand. Elias helped her step to the opening. Cool air rushed upward from the shaft, smelling of dust and metal and danger. He climbed down first, gripping the ladder built into the wall. His movements were precise, confident, practiced. He looked up at her. "Come on." Her fingers trembled as she grabbed the ladder.
The moment she stepped into the shaft, the door behind them groaned loudly. Someone shouted orders. Metal screeched. Mira climbed faster. Down, down, down.
Her hands burned against the steel rungs. Her breathing quickened. Her arms shook. Elias kept glancing up at her. "You're doing great," he murmured. "Just keep your hands steady." "I'm trying," Mira whispered, terrified of slipping. Then, a gunshot echoed above. Mira gasped. Elias's voice cut through sharply. "Don't stop. Don't look back." She climbed harder. The shaft vibrated faintly with the impact of blows hitting the panic room door. 25 floors down. Mira's muscles screamed. Her fingers throbbed. Elias paused at a landing, waiting for her. "You good?" he asked. "No," she whispered, "but I'm still alive." A faint smile flickered across his face. "Then you're doing better than most." They continued downward. Halfway, a sudden rumble shook the shaft. Elias stiffened. "They're breaching the panic room," he said quietly. Her heart dropped. "But we're far enough now. They won't reach this tunnel." He moved faster. When they reached the bottom at last, Mira's palms were raw. Her arms felt like jelly. But she was alive, and Elias was waiting for her. Breathing hard, sweat streaking his temples. He steadied her with both hands as she stepped onto the concrete floor. "You okay?" he murmured. "No," she said honestly, "but I will be." Elias's eyes softened. He brushed a thumb gently across her cheek, a gesture so unexpected she froze. "You're stronger than you think," he whispered. Before she could respond, a distant alarm blared through the tunnel. Elias cursed under his breath. "That means they've accessed the floor plan. They know about the tunnel." Mira's eyes widened. "So they're coming here?" "Yes," he said. "But not fast enough." He grabbed her hand. "Run." She didn't hesitate. They sprinted down the tunnel, footsteps echoing, breaths sharp, hands clasped tightly. Elias pressed his palm to another hidden scanner. A steel door slid open. Inside, a black armored car with matte windows waited. Sleek, silent, bulletproof. He opened the passenger door for her. "Get in." She climbed inside, heart pounding. He slid into the driver's seat, slammed the door, and started the engine. The tunnel lights flickered overhead. "Where are we going?" she asked breathlessly. Elias shifted into drive. "To my private safe house." "Why not the police?" He gave her a look. "The police can be bought. My enemies already did." Her blood ran cold. The car took off, the engine barely making a sound. The tunnel opened into a concealed exit beneath the city. Elias maneuvered through it swiftly, expertly. As they entered the empty midnight streets, Mira finally exhaled the breath she'd been holding for what felt like hours. But the quiet didn't last. Elias spoke softly. "Mira, there's something I need to tell you before we get to the safe house." "What now?"
He didn't look at her. He just kept driving, faster. "There's a reason your father died," he said quietly, "and it wasn't an accident." Mira felt her chest cave in. "What?" "He found out who the traitor was," Elias continued, "and he confronted them, alone. He was trying to protect you." Mira's voice cracked. "My father was killed." "Yes," Elias said,
And they want you gone because you're the last loose end. Tears filled her eyes. And you, she whispered, why do they want you dead? Elias's jaw tightened. Because I'm the only one powerful enough to expose them. Silence wrapped around the car. Painful, cold, heavy. Then Elias breathed out slowly. Mira, I'm sorry. I should have told you from the beginning. Her voice trembled. Why didn't you? He finally looked at her, his eyes raw, hurting, human. Because once you knew, there was no going back. Mira wiped her tears. There's no going back anyway, she whispered. Not after tonight. Elias swallowed. You're right. The car sped through the near-empty streets until they reached a secure, gated compound. High walls, armed guards, infrared scanners. Elias drove straight in. The gates closed behind them with a heavy metallic thud. Inside, everything was still. Too still. He parked the car and stepped out, rushing to Mira's side. He opened her door. Stay close to me, he said gently. We're safe here, but I don't trust anyone except a small handful of people. Mira stepped out, knees weak. As they walked through the quiet courtyard, Mira whispered, So what now? We hide forever? He glanced at her. No, he said firmly. We fight. He led her inside the safe house. Warm lights, quiet halls, reinforced walls. Finally, a moment to breathe. Mira sank onto the edge of the sofa, exhausted. Elias stood in front of her, watching her carefully. Slowly, he knelt, on one knee. Not like a proposal, not romantic, not grand, but solemn, serious. Elias, what are you doing? She whispered. He took both her hands gently in his. Mira Valerio, whether this marriage started as protection or necessity, I need you to hear this. Her breath hitched. He looked at her with quiet intensity. I will keep you alive. I will find the traitor, and I will make them pay for everything they took from you. Her eyes filled again. But after that, she whispered, what happens after we survive? Elias's expression softened, almost painfully. That, he said slowly, depends on what you want. Silence fell between them. Heavy. Intimate. Unspoken. Mira whispered, I don't know what I want yet. Elias nodded once. That's okay. We'll figure it out together. But then, a phone vibrated on the table.
Elias grabbed it. His eyes narrowed. What is it? Mira asked nervously. Elias turned the screen so she could see. A live video feed. Her apartment building. Her door. Broken open. And a voice behind the camera spoke. A voice Mira recognized. Her father's best friend. A man she trusted. Hello, Mira, he said. I hear congratulations are in order. Married already. Mira's blood turned to ice. The man laughed. Don't worry, I'll come give my blessings soon. Elias's jaw clenched. The man's smile twisted cruelly. And Mira, since you're now a Valerio, you're worth even more dead. The video cut. Mira stared at the blank screen, trembling. Elias reached for her hand. Mira, he murmured, look at me. She lifted her eyes. The fear in them, the determination in his, collided like fire and gasoline. This isn't over, Elias said. Not even close. Mira swallowed hard. What do we do now? Elias stood, pulled her to her feet, and whispered with quiet fire, Now we hunt. The room fell into silence, but the story wasn't ending.
It was just beginning. If you enjoyed this story, like, comment, share, and subscribe to Golden Billionaire Stories, where every tale drips with luxury, power, and passion. Because here, love always comes with a price.